Welcome to the EQ Fit podcast. Our mission is to equip people to prosper in every aspect of their life. Whether you're at home or in the workplace, we explore practical ways of improving success, satisfaction, finding balance, and building enjoyable and beneficial relationships. Thank you for joining us. Today's focus is going to be on a critical competency of emotional intelligence, and I probably say that about everyone, but the model that I use only has 8 competencies. It doesn't have 20 or 30 different competencies, so everyone is critical and everyone works together with the others to get best outcomes, best decision making, and really more success and satisfaction in life. So today we're going to focus on navigating emotions. This competency directly impacts categories of emotional intelligence, of self-regulation, and motivation. I'm going to start a little differently though today. I want to talk about a true story that happened to me today, and I hope you can follow the emotional impact that is going on throughout this story, because I think this is, you cannot make this stuff up. This is the best way I could have imagined to explain the emotional intelligence skill of navigating emotions. I'm behind in getting this done today in my usual time frame, and that frustrates me. Why am I later than I want to be? Because the electricity has been out all day long. Ever stop to think what life would be like without electricity? Well, I can tell you it's not a lot of fun. We rely so much on electricity. Well, here's how the day started. It started with the alarm going off this morning to alert us that the electricity had gone out. On most mornings, that wouldn't have been a big deal, but this is the one morning of the week that I get to sleep in. Not today. What an awesome start to the day. So immediately, uncertainty and annoyance start to kick in. Those are the emotions that are being generated first thing this morning for me. This is when my navigating emotions skill started to kick in. Okay, it probably won't be that bad. Surely they'll have it fixed soon. And the problem is there's a clock ticking in my head, and I'm just one of those people that has a clock ticking in our head all the time about getting things done by a certain time frame. So this clock is ticking away in my head how many minutes and hours I'm losing to get the things done that I really want to get done. Okay. So time to pivot, right? I decided I needed to go out and get some caffeine. Of course, it's raining like crazy outside, but that's okay. The car's nice and dry in the garage. So I get dressed and my wife and I head to the garage. Now, some of you are probably already ahead of me on this. As I reach up to push the garage door opener, guess what? No electricity. So the car is stuck in the garage. Yeah, I could probably pull that little rope thing, but lifting garage doors is not my favorite thing, especially with the stiffness and soreness I've been experiencing lately in just about every joint that I have. So, okay, the reality is the garage door is not going to open, and I'm just going, great, wonderful. Obviously, there's some sarcasm in that. Now I'm feeling frustrated and I'm feeling a little bit upset. My navigating emotions is kicking in at a higher degree because I'm now in my brain at DEFCON 4. And for those of you who don't understand what DEFCON means, it's our United States rating of how close we are to war. You know, DEFCON 5, 4, 3, 2, and of course 1 is basically a de facto state of war. So I got this stuff going on in my brain. But I think, okay, wait a minute. I'm going to leverage my navigating emotion skill. I can deal with this. We've got another car outside. I just have to go out the front door and bring it to the front walkway for my wife to get in. So I step out the front door and literally the heavens open up with rain like I have not seen in years. Even with a raincoat, I'm getting soaked. But we made it in the car and we're traveling to our favorite coffee place. Well, we get about halfway there and my wife gets a text. I always ask her who texts her from. I mean, it's just kind of one of our things. I think most people might do that. Just curiosity. Guess what? It's the electric company saying that they have identified additional repairs and the expected time for the electricity to come back on has now been pushed an additional 3 hours. In my brain, the first thing that comes in my mind is seriously? Are you kidding me? Now, I'm well on my way up what I call the anger escalator. So think of starting at annoyance and then it gets to frustration and irritation, but then it gets to higher degrees of anger. Well, I'm well on my way up that escalator. I have gone from annoyed to frustrated and now I'm just mad. What is going on here? My internal sirens, though, are going off, telling me that I need to be careful how I react. It's so easy just to lash out, but guess who gets the brunt of that? If you're alone, it's you. If you're with somebody else, they get to share in that joy of you just unloading on them. And they certainly don't deserve it. So my navigating emotions are now at DEFCON 3. I'm dealing with DEFCON 3. And lights and alarms are going off to remind me that I need to be careful in what I do and in what I say. Well, the trip to the coffee shop was uneventful after that. I am still feeling the emotions, but their impact has reduced in intensity over some time. And that's a good thing. That's a normal thing that happens. Well, then we get back to the house. We have about a half an hour of peace. It's kind of nice, actually. I mean, we don't have electricity, but it's kind of quiet. And, we can look out our backyard and see the trees and the squirrels and all of that. Of course, I don't know why the squirrels are out there because it's raining like crazy, but squirrels are squirrels, right? Everything's pretty good until the most dreaded of all sounds begins. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The smoke alarm has decided to make its presence known. And it can't be any of the smoke alarms that are easy to get to. It has to be the one that is mounted so high I can only reach it if I go to the top rung of the ladder. And that's not a good move. So all of a sudden, I'm getting even more angry, and the words that I promise myself I will never say or even think, what else can go wrong? A little side note on that. That is not a question that you want to voice out loud or even think in your head. It always seems to make things worse. I think it's kind of like calling a curse down on yourself. So, sure enough, that came out of my mouth, and I've just escalated to what I consider to be righteous anger. Not just anger, but righteous anger, because I'm in the right and everything else is in the wrong. I don't deserve this. What is wrong with this world? Then, right at that moment, I hear from the other room my beautiful wife saying in her sweet voice that I love so much, "Hey, just to let you know, they're now saying it will be another 4 hours until the electricity is back on." I just went to DEFCON 2. My finger is on the button ready to launch. I take a breath, make an intentional choice to de-escalate my emotions. And it's not easy. I can tell you, I have a very high score in navigating emotions. It doesn't mean it's easy. It just means that there's a lot of capacity to do that, but we choose whether we use that capacity or not. Well, I decided, I'm still feeling those emotions, but I'm leveraging the heck out of my navigating emotion skill so that I don't say or do something that I'm going to regret later. Is it easy? No, of course not. But it's worth the energy and effort because my peace of mind and my relationships, especially with my wife, are far more important in the long run than just unloading. Well, 2 hours into the 4 hour delay, the electricity comes back on, and I am euphoric. Then I realized something. It seems like the electric company always seems to do this. They announce delays, and then they get the electricity back on well ahead of the time that they sent out in the last notification. Now I'm suspicious. There's another wonderful emotion we all deal with. By this time, I have amped up my navigating emotions so high that the suspicion I have is not even a blip on the radar because the world is back where it needs to be. I've dealt with the emotions and thankfully got through most of it without saying things or doing things that would hurt either myself or somebody else. So the key to this is to understand that navigating emotions is a skill that you need to build and have ready in your stockpiles when things like this happen. There are a few things I'd like to share with you, maybe some lessons learned and just confirmation for me through this true story. Number one, never, ever let yourself get to DEFCON 1. And as I've said, that's kind of a state of war when you launch everything and take everything out, and we just don't want to get there. And frankly, we don't have control over our emotions and what we feel, but we certainly control what we do with them. And so highly recommend building that navigating emotions competency and skills so that you never get to that point where you're just, scorched earth everywhere. Second, the amount of navigating emotions capability that's available to you is only the amount you have stockpiled to the point where the challenge, crisis, or opportunity comes into your life. It's an internal resource that has to be built up ahead of time. Number three, the way you build an internal resource like navigating emotions is to practice it every day. Little decisions, little things. It's like a productive habit you put in place to improve your life. And number four, at the core of navigating emotions is making a decision to be more intentional so that you get better outcomes. The easy way to know where you stand in your navigating emotions competency without taking an EQ test, which, I provide those to my clients and to a lot of people who want to understand their emotional intelligence at a deeper level. But there is a way to know where you stand in navigating emotions. And here's what you do. Consider what percentage of the time that you just quickly react to a situation versus the percentage of the time you take a more thoughtful and considered approach to come up with a better response. So this is reaction versus response. Response being the more thoughtful approach. Well, let's step back a minute, do a better definition of navigating emotions, and talk about what it might look like if you have low levels of this or high levels of this, and then how to build those. Navigating emotions is one of the core competencies that I've talked about in the model of emotional intelligence that I use. It involves the capacity to assess, harness, and transform emotions to achieve desired outcomes. And those desired outcomes are usually better outcomes. None of us, I think, desire worse outcomes. This competency enables people to manage emotional reactions effectively and then use their emotions to facilitate rather than disrupt things. That's an important differentiator. Are we facilitating and moving things forward, or are we disrupting? It allows people to stay open to feelings. This isn't suppressing feelings, and it's not expressing every single feeling you have. It is navigating them for better outcomes. It allows us to deal with both pleasant and unpleasant emotions and to get useful insights from emotions. Emotions are simply messages that our brain generates for us around specific things that happen or specific thoughts that we have. So in everyday life, navigating emotions might show up as the ability to remain calm during a heated discussion. Maybe it's maintaining focus under stress, or even channeling excitement effectively to motivate others and to influence others. A leader who can navigate emotions effectively, for example, might use their understanding of team dynamics to mediate conflicts and build more of a cohesive work environment. All of those things are big pluses. And this is why the skills of emotional intelligence, measured by the specific competencies, are so very important. So, individuals with low scores in navigating emotions often experience difficulties in their personal and in their professional relationships. They may struggle to manage stress. They may become easily overwhelmed in challenging situations, and they may not respond effectively to feedback. I see this a lot. If somebody has a low navigating emotions score, they really struggle with getting constructive feedback from other people. This can lead to poor decision making, decreased productivity, and even health issues like anxiety and depression. Relationships at work and at home both may suffer due to inappropriate or uncontrolled emotional responses. That's when people are reacting and not responding. Identifying a deficit in navigating emotions can be achieved by reflecting on behavior and decision-making processes. So here's some potential signs that someone may have low navigating emotions. Frequent overreaction to minor annoyances. Difficulty calming themselves after an emotional upset. A tendency to feel overwhelmed by stressful situations, and making impulsive decisions influenced by their mood rather than by facts. So let's talk about strategies for developing this really important competency of navigating emotions. So if we want to improve navigating emotions, it has several benefits. So for professionals, it enhances leadership abilities, it improves conflict resolution skills, it boosts team performance. Now, on a personal level, it contributes to better relationships, increased resilience, that's a key right there, and overall well-being. Individuals become more adept at handling uncertainty and are better positioned to face personal and professional challenges. What I just said there is so very important. You want to put yourself in the best place possible to deal with uncertainty and to deal with the challenges that come at you. And I am giving you very specific skills through this series to help you do that. More agile, more resilient, more focused, more productive, better communications, just so many different things. Being able to build trust at higher levels. So developing navigating emotions involves consistent practice and mindfulness. And I define mindfulness here as practicing self-awareness. What's going on inside my head, but also how am I showing up for other people? That's self-awareness. Now, here's some very specific ways to enhance navigating emotions as a skill or a competency. Number one, emotional literacy. Regular practice of identifying and labeling emotions and those of others can heighten awareness and control. Both things I think we'd all like to have. Here's another, mindfulness and meditation. Remember, mindfulness being self-reflection, self-awareness. These practices help in observing emotional patterns without judgment, and that's a key. We're not trying to judge here. We just want to understand patterns. We want to foster deeper understanding and management of emotions. Here's something else that can be done to enhance navigating emotions. Journaling. Writing about emotional experiences can clarify feelings and enhance emotional regulation. Critical skills. Cognitive reappraisal. That's a big word. Just to say, learning to reinterpret a situation to change its emotional impact can significantly aid in managing reactions. So that means take the time to go back through things, decide what maybe you could have done differently or what you would like to change, but also the key element in this is go back over that so you can name those emotions. And there's a saying I use a lot called name it and tame it. If you name the emotions and how they impacted you, you can start to tame them. So they don't control you, you now control them. And then the last one is seek feedback. Regular feedback about emotional responses from, and this is the key word, trusted people. Trusted people at work, trusted people at home, or even a coach like myself who can provide insights and can aid growth. All of these are wonderful ways to start stockpiling more and more of that internal resource called navigating emotions. So to ensure that we continue to grow in navigating emotions, it's essential to establish regular check-ins with yourself or with a coach or somebody that you trust. And setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So setting those SMART goals around emotional intelligence practices can be a wonderful way to enhance the development effort. Navigating emotions is a critical competency in emotional intelligence, and it impacts so many different aspects of both the personal and professional side of our lives. By understanding and developing this skill, individuals can actually enhance their ability to cope with challenges, they can lead more effectively, they can build healthier relationships. You know, as we continue to face complex interpersonal dynamics and a changing world around us, and that includes stressful situations, mastering the art of navigating emotions becomes not only beneficial but it becomes essential. So I'll finish with this, just a quick update. We're now 2 hours into having electricity restored. Just writing this article and producing this episode, because I use my articles and episodes kind of together, they dovetail with each other, has helped me to effectively deal with the residual emotions I've had from earlier today. Isn't it funny how quickly we get over some things until the next time it happens? Thank you for joining us for this episode. If you have any questions about this week's episode, or maybe a suggestion for future episodes you'd like us to explore, please contact us through our website at eqfit.org. For more information and inspiration, connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at EQFit.